Thanks for joining us out here at the Great Lakes Collectors Convention presented by Greenie Sports Cards, and welcome to the Card Show Live Theater powered by Collectibles on SI. My name is Kenny Roda, formerly of WKNR Radio, now at WHBC Radio in the Hall of Fame city of Canton, Ohio, and I'm thrilled today, absolutely thrilled. It's like a trip down memory lane for me with these special guests that we have up here on stage. Former Browns legends joining us right now. To my right, your left, the one, the only, the top dog, Hanford Dixon. What's up, Hanford? Still barking after all these years.
Big dog, it's always a pleasure to be with you and see you.
Good to see you as well. To my left, your right, immediate left, wide receiver Reggie Langhorne in the house. What's up, Reg?
All right, I'm doing good, Kenny. Everything is good. We're excited to figure things out today.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, no doubt about that. And then a little further to my left, the one, the only, his shirt isn't torn off yet today, but you can still try and tackle him and rip it off. The legendary Greg Pruitt joining us. How are you, Greg?
Hey, I'm doing great. Can you hear me?
There we go.
All right.
And he's got the orange on today as well. So good to see you guys. Yesterday, the draft came to an end for the Cleveland Browns and everybody in the league. The Browns entered the draft with 10 picks. They actually used 7, made some trades, and let's start there. And Greg, I'll go to you and work our way around. Day one, they had the second overall pick in the draft. We all thought, or at least a lot of us thought, they were going to take Travis Hunter. They elected to trade down 3 spots and take Mason Graham and get a first-round pick next year from Jacksonville. Your thoughts on the way that first pick went down and what they did with it?
Well, I was a Travis Hunter fan. I think that when you get a caliber of player like that plays as well as he plays on both sides of the ball, you don't pass it up. But I understand also that they're trying to get as many picks as they can, and the Browns it's not a one-year fix for them. That's how they see it. And so they're trying to put pieces together to get to that point. But overall, I didn't watch. I was there for the first day down at the stadium, but I went to New York yesterday, so I was stuck on an airplane for like 6 hours on a plane. And so I missed a lot of it. So, but you know, the Browns have did more research than we have. Some of the players I'm not familiar with, but that don't mean they can't play. And I think with
Shedeur Sanders,
we talked earlier, and I was kind of thinking that might have been the owner stepping in and calling that pick. And people say they don't do that. I said, what had happened to me? When I came out of college, I was not on the draft board of the Cleveland Browns. I was a favorite of Art Bodell, and he pulled the trigger. And so hopefully we get the same results.
That'd be nice. Anything close to that would work out well.
Right.
Reg, what about you with what they did with that first pick?
Well, I guess you'd really never know what draft picks are going to give you till year, 2 or 3, and to really find out if you got a guy that's going to hang around, stays healthy, and be an impact player. I mean, when you take these first-round guys, if you take a list at the 32 teams of the last 10 years and their first-round draft picks, a lot of them are out of the league. Yep. So I'm one of those guys that believe, yes, you're supposed to be the talented guy. You're in your first round. You should be an impact player.
Right.
The guy from Michigan that they took is supposed to be a solid player. I don't know enough about him to talk about it, but they also picked up another first-round guy next year. Now, I guess I'm always having a problem with the people that pick these players. Over the years, I haven't been very comfortable with the people we pick and then the people we have coaching them. No one seems to get better when they get here. Now, we've done well with wide receiver trades, but not picking wide receivers. We still don't have an offensive line or offensive tackles that we're sure can go through 17 games this year. So we still got some holes to fill, and Andrew Berry's got his work cut out of him because I don't think we can take the field for 17 weeks and win 10, 12 games with the group we got.
I'm with you 100%, and Andrew Berry's track record is not a good one as the general manager. Coming into this year's draft, he had, I believe it was 37 draft picks, and only one of them made the Pro Bowl. One for Austin Hedges hits better than that. and he's batting 166. 1 for 37 is not good, and so he's still the guy making the picks, to your point. So hopefully he, Paul DePodesta, Jimmy Haslam, maybe this time they finally get it right with the 7 they chose yesterday and that extra first-round pick they'll get next year.
I was watching the screen, and you've got Stefanski, and you got Barry, and you got JW in there too. I'm like, well, what's JW expertise with football? I mean, we ain't got one football guy in the room.
Right.
You got to do it there. I mean, analytics, Greg, what is it? I mean, we got to get a football guy in there. At least somebody that has the credentials of a football guy. I mean, even if he just shows up once a week.
I'm with you. John Dorsey, to me, is the last football guy that knew anything that they had in the front office. Hanford, where do you come out on all this and what they did on day one?
I have to say this. I was a little bit disappointed when I found out that we was trading down from number 2 to number 5, because I wanted to see us make that pick at that number 2 pick, because very rarely do you get a chance to draft that high in the draft. And I hope we're never at that in that position again. But I wanted to see us take one of those guys, talking about Carter or Hunter, one of those guys. And then we traded down to number 5, and then we drafted, Mason Graham, I think is his name,
right,
the kid out of Michigan. And they were saying this kid is a really good kid. I'm sure he is, but he's not a Carter. He's not one of those guys. So, but you know what? I'm not going to beat up on him right now, because like Reggie said, you don't know enough about these players. You don't know whether they're going to produce or are they going to be Hall of Fame players or anything like that. But overall, some of the weapons and things we got, can't wait to see how they perform. But I was disappointed when we didn't take that number 2 pick, when we traded that pick from a number 2 to number 5.
Here's one of the things that I expected from this team, and they kind of did it. Their offense was the worst in the NFL last year, okay? So they had to address offensive needs. So they ended up, whether you like them or not, taking 2 quarterbacks. I thought it was good that they took 2. The more swings you take, hopefully you'll get a hit eventually. Nick Chubb, more than likely, isn't coming back. Never say never. We'll have to wait and see, and his better years are behind him, so they needed to address the running back situation, and they did. Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State, who I absolutely love, and the other kid, I want to make sure I get it right, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. So they got 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, and they took a kid I covered in high school at Kent McKinley High School, and he went to Bowling Green, and Harold Fannin Jr., he had 117 catches as a tight end last year, right? So I give them credit at least for addressing what was a need after that first pick on the defensive line. And so, again, I want to start with a former running back.
Well, no. Come over here first. Yeah. You was over there first last time, so come over here, because I got a question I want to say for for the two offensive guys over here, because you guys heard me say how disappointed I was when they went away from the number 2 pick and we ended up with the 5th pick. I would have been really, really happy, guys, if we'd have drafted that kid, that running back out of Boise. What's his name?
Ashton Gentry.
I mean, man, this kid is a beast. I mean, you guys seen him run? Boy, that would have made me happy, guys, if we'd have drafted him.
Hey, I'm going to let the running back take care of that one.
Well, we're talking about all the positions. I think they should have did more with the offensive line. Maybe they got somebody there that neither of us know anything about, but I don't care who you are, the running back. If you can't get the line of scrimmage, you can't get nothing.
Well, unless his name is Greg
Pruitt.
Pruitt.
Go for a running back. No, hey, that's Greg Pruitt saying, I want the line of scrimmage at least. And throwing the football, quarterbacks, all that. You got to have a healthy line. So I'm hoping that they have done something that we are unaware of, or went a different way of helping that offensive line out, because that hurt us last year.
Reg, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, Hanford's got a good point, and having a good running back like the kid Gentry out of Boise State is a solid player. And like Greg said, the Hunter kid would have been overly exciting to be able to watch him play offensive defense. And yes, remember, we were the worst in the league with 15.2 points scored as an offense last year.
Right.
So it's nice to have quarterbacks. It's nice to have running backs. But if you don't have an offensive line, you ain't going to get much done. I am a firm believer that you win inside out. You got to have a solid line, and usually they need a lot of cohesiveness over a period of time. I don't think we've had the same offensive line start more than 2 games in a row in the last 5 years.
Right.
That's not good.
Right.
Well,
Right.
you know, and when we look at it, they did come back and they addressed the running back position where they drafted 2 guys. He's not, he's not that Gentry guy. I mean, he's not them.
Right.
But at least they addressed that area. So it's going to be interesting and to see, because you talked about that offensive line. We got Joe Petonio, who was contemplating retirement, but he's going to come back and he's going to be on that offensive line. But you know what I always say, guys, the game of football is controlled and played on the offensive and defensive line of scrimmage up front. So I agree with you guys constantly on that.
Hey, I've never been a fan of a guy saying, I might retire this year. I might retire next year, but you still paying him. He's already got a foot out the door.
But you know what? Even with that 1 foot out the door, he's better than anybody else they got on the roster.
Right. How about that?
But I think it's important that you get a line and try to stay healthy, because for me, what was important was chemistry. And chemistry to me is, I know my linemen so well that every time a play is called, there's always a point of attack. Who's ever going to make that block is going to make or break that play. And sometimes when you play enough and you get to know your lineman enough, they may call a play that for that particular lineman, that's not his best block. So I don't hit the hole real hard on that. I kind of try to help him. But if I go another play and they call a play where the key blocker, that's his best block, I can hit that hole hard. That can be a big play. So chemistry it takes time to develop that. And it takes the same people doing the same thing over and over to know what you do in every situation. And the way we played musical chairs last year, that was a problem.
Kenny.
Chubb got hurt because of the injuries to the line. No line of scrimmage.
Kenny, you can answer this, but Greg, too. I really want Greg to answer this because, we're talking about the running backs, the 2 running backs that we got. We didn't address that with the number 2 pick. But Nick Chubb, and maybe you're leading into this or something, but Nick Chubb, 2 surgeries on that same knee, his foot as a running back. Can he come back from that?
If anybody can, it would be him.
The one thing it's telling is I hurt my right knee, and I know that the rehab is for that. And one of the gauges that you use to how far you've come with is to do squats. And, man, you can take a whole bunch of hundreds off of what I was able to squat that Nick Chubb is squat. When he squatted 500, 600 pounds.
Too much.
It's too much, but he did it. That tells me something about his leg.
That's true.
That's my point.
Okay.
He's back. You can't judge him like you judge a regular person. And you know what? We got a history of giving up now. You end up seeing Chubb somewhere else, being the old Chubb, and then we'll know if they gave up on him too soon. I trust him enough, and he's done enough for me that I trust if he say he can play, he can play.
And here's the other thing, too. Even if they bring him back on a 1-year deal, one more year, it'll be great for Sampson and Judkins to learn from him as well, right? You've got Flacco to hopefully teach Pickett, Sanders, and Gabriel as the veteran. You bring Chubb back, and maybe you get some mileage out of him. But if nothing else, his work ethic to teach these young kids how to overcome and succeed, that might be as valuable as anything.
Well, I tell you, as a running back, I had a lot of success in college. But when you go to the pros, it's another level. It's almost like trying to cross the freeway. Everything moving so fast. And so I tell you that my success came from a guy that when I first saw him, he's 5'11", not quite 6 feet. He may outweigh me maybe about 20 pounds, but he wasn't as fast as me, Leroy Kelly. But we ran the same plays against the same defense, and I struggled and he didn't. So I was smart enough to start paying attention.
Okay.
And I'm looking for a film. We played the Kansas City Chiefs, and Leroy got hurt. I wasn't playing. I was backing him up. So I wasn't playing a lot. So in pregame, the Kansas City Chiefs at that time were probably one of the biggest teams in football. They were bigger than us, and they didn't even have their shoulder pads on. and there was a big controversy of whether or not I was big enough to play. I'm going to start thinking maybe they know something I don't know. But anyway, I don't get to play. Leroy, it's his problem.
Yeah.
So the game starts when you have Leroy gets hurt. So now I got to go in the game. So what going through my mind is all of those plays that I was going to sleep in meetings on because I didn't think I was going to get to play, trying to remember the key points in the scouting report. And they had a guy named Willie Lanier.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that name because they said it's so much in the media. You can't do this with Lanier. You can't do that with Lanier. So now I'm in the game trying to remember all the things that they said. I get in the huddle, and Mike Phipps is the quarterback, and Mike Phipps say, 22 trap on one. I say, 22 trap? That's where Lanier's standing. We're supposed to be running away from Lanier. So now I get smart, right? So I get in the three-point stand, and I peep up at him, and he's looking right at me. I put my head back down. So I remember them saying he'll pick up on any key. So I said, well, maybe if I give him a false key, that'll work. So I started leaning toward the the one hole. And so I wanted to peep to see if he took it. I peeped for real. He said, really? He shook his head.
I ain't going there.
Hit me for like a 5-yard loss. So with 3 and out, I come off the field. Leroy meets me and says, Greg, what are you doing? I said, they didn't block. He said, no, they ain't got nothing to do with block. He said, when you got a guy like that, the 2 goes to the 1. That's automatic, Greg. So they came back in a couple plays. They ran that play again. I went 80-something yards for a touchdown. And I'm telling you, I went 80-something yards for a touchdown with my mouth wide open. I couldn't believe how he had made that adjustment from observing on the sideline. So I learned then that that's how important an experienced back can be to your other backs.
Great point.
Langhorne, I was going to ask you this. I mean, we all love Nick Chubb. I mean, there's no question about it. The guy's been a model citizen here with the Cleveland Browns. But, again, he has, like we just said, he has had those 2 surgeries. Now it's his foot. And he's been out there in free agency. No, there hasn't been a team that has attempted to sign him. Langhorne, you think they're sending a message to him by those 2 running backs that we...
Well, you have to be realistic about it. The fact that of the injuries that he's had, no one is probably going to give him any money. So he'll be dealing with, veterans minimum, whatever
With
they call
incentives,
that.
right?
If he can pass physicals, and hopefully that goes well. I watched him last year, and I watched him very close down there.
300 and some yards.
He's a step away.
Let me tell you. Let me give you guys a little secret. People don't know this. When I went to the Raiders after being traded by the Browns, I failed the physical, and I played 3 years, and I played in the Super Bowl.
So we don't know.
I went to the Pro Bowl.
But again,
saying.
you talk about Greg Pruitt.
Hey, I'm talking about Nick Chubb, too.
Well, I mean, he's been out there. Ain't nobody. Somebody signed you,
So
kid.
Greg says all things are possible.
But,
So they're all possible.
I'm just saying. History sometimes has a way of repeating itself. That's all.
And we all want him to play. Don't get me wrong. We
absolutely.
But look, me personally, if that was me, I would sign him today to bring him back.
Right.
I would sign him today because I think he deserved that chance that we're talking about.
And he's good morale for the other guys. How to prepare for a game, how you act at that position, and how you contribute. All that you take for granted thinking that college just teaches you that, but it is a difference from college to pros.
And if you got to remember, you just drafted 2. You still got Ford, and you got to find some time to give him the ball because he's going to be your guy if Nick's not able to play. So the question would be, if they sign him, you got to find out what he can do early.
Yeah.
You need to know. You don't need to run him 5 plays this week, 10 plays next week, and build up.
Yeah.
You need to find out if you can actually go. Then you'll know what you got.
Hold it right now. Langhorne, you're the general manager. I'm Nick Chubb. I'm sitting in your office. What you gonna tell me?
We're going to run you 30 times the first game. If you make it through, you got a job. If you don't, you're gone. We need to know. I mean, we love you, but we got to win football games. All these people are expecting us to win games. We got to do what we got to do.
Hey,
Sometimes the relationships between players and organizations and cities are very special, but it's still a business.
No question.
It's still a business.
No question. Hey, real quick, just so y'all know, they signed 2 linemen in the offseason, all right? So they got 2 offensive linemen. They got Tevin Jenkins, who plays right tackle, left tackle, and guard from the Bears, free agent. And they got Cornelius Lucas, a veteran offensive tackle, right side, left side from Washington. So they did address, at least through free agency, a couple of offensive linemen, and they're hoping that DeJuan Jones, who was a nice find in the draft, is back healthy from that knee injury. He'll be your left tackle, and Jack Conklin, still going after all these years and all those injuries, will be your right tackle. So the cupboard isn't completely bare, but I expected at least 1 lineman in the draft, and they didn't do that.
I did too. Well, I did too.
You know, you said they got one of those linemen from Chicago. Their quarterback got sacked more than anybody in the NFL last year. We got somebody else's backup mess.
You know who I'm really excited, and I can't wait to see who. I think he's going to have a hell of a year this year. You mentioned him, DeJuan Jones.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about a big, massive guy. DeJuan Jones is probably about 6'7", about 350 pounds. It was so funny because we were doing like this event together, and I looked at him. I said, "Big dog, how much you weigh today?" He said, "Today about 350, you know." But I think he'll play somewhere around 330, 340.
They hope.
But I think he's going to have a hell of a year. I really do. I hope so anyway. Yeah.
They need him to have a hell of a year. They really do. All right, one question here. We got a few minutes left, and happy to have with us legends Reggie Langhorne, Greg Pruitt, Hanford, Dixon here, joining us at the Great Lakes Collectors Convention presented by Greenie Sports Cards, and we're up here at the Card Show Live Theater powered by Collectibles on SI. For you guys, 3-14 last year. All right. Next year's draft is supposed to be quarterback heavy. They picked up an extra first-round pick for next year in that trade with Jacksonville. Now, I don't think fans want to hear about another 3-14 season, which would put you in position to maybe draft Arch Manning next year or trade up to get him.
Right.
I'm curious to hear from you guys. Is it okay if I start there and come back this time? Okay, Hanford. I'll go with Greg. Your expectations for the team next season, are they going to be as bad as they were this past year at 3-14? Allowing them to draft that quarterback, or do you think they'll be better, Greg Pruitt?
I would like to think that they can be better than 3-14. Yeah, I think they'll be better than 3-14. Yeah, a lot of the concerns I had with the Browns last year were they shot themselves in the foot a lot. It wasn't a lot of the defense stopping them. We made a lot of mental mistakes last year, and maybe that is when you got guys in and out. And the chemistry ain't there. You don't know what a guy's going to do or not going to do. But certainly I would think they would double or even triple the win. You know, the good thing is it's easy to obtain because they did so bad last year. So we'll take 10, 11 wins.
All right, Reg, what are your expectations?
Not much. And I would say 7-8 wins, and that's going to be if we're lucky. I don't know what we're good at. Like, you know, most football teams, you look at them and you say they're real good at this and they've been consistent at this for a long time. We haven't been consistent about stopping the run. We haven't been consistent about stopping the pass. We haven't been consistent of making the run or making the pass. So one year we're hot, one year we're not. So I don't know what you're going to get out of this group. I don't even know who will be the quarterback. We don't know who the running backs are. You have Tillman is coming off the concussion from last year, and you got Jerry Jeudy. So you got 2 receivers. You got a new young tight end. But I'm not sold on anything being as good as we think it's going to be. And if everybody's waiting on next year and next year's quarterback, I don't know what promises somebody told you that's going to make it better.
Here's the only thing I'll say. The Haslams are from Tennessee. Peyton Manning played at Tennessee. Peyton Manning's brother is the father of Arch Manning, who plays for Texas, and he could be available.
Who has thrown 16 passes in college.
I know.
I have not got that, and it pisses me off. Everybody's talking about wait around for Arch Manning. The kid just started wiping his own nose. When you talking about him playing in the NFL and he ain't throwing no passes. He may be the best prospect there is, but that don't mean he can get it done.
That's the gamble you take, right?
Talking about Arch Manning, boy, that pisses me off.
We're going to find out if the DNA is the same, right?
I mean, it probably is. He's probably great. But the idea of thinking of taking him before he has actually proven himself to be considered a number 1 pick just makes me go, are you kidding me?
All right, fair enough. Hanford, weigh in on all this.
Well, the thing about it, they can't be any worse than what they were last year. I mean, winning 3 games is just absolutely horrible. You know what? I can't wait to watch and see what's going to happen this year because we're in that AFC North. And when you're in that AFC North, it all starts with the 2 teams that has quarterbacks, talking about Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow and the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked when you had Shador still on the board and Pittsburgh didn't take the kid. I mean, I couldn't believe that. And
a team without a quarterback.
Right. And they supposedly waiting around on Aaron Rodgers, which is just totally insane. I feel bad for you Steelers fans, but you did get your quarterback.
I don't feel bad
you
for
got
the
guy.
Steelers fan.
You got the guy. Will.
I think it was
a
great
Ohio
pick
State,
by
yeah,
the
Will
Steelers.
But
Go on with Rodgers.
I can't wait to see what's going to happen in our quarterback room. I mean, because in that quarterback room, I mean, you got Flacco, and we know what we're going to get with him. Okay, we drafted the kid with the 3rd round pick. Okay, then we came and we got Shador, and then we signed Pickett. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I think this kid, they can say what they want to say about Shador. I mean, you look at his completion percentage is over 70%. I mean, this kid, I think this kid is going to come in here.
Then why wasn't he drafted sooner?
Well, I think it has something to do with him. It has something to do with his father.
I want you to tell me the truth, though.
And I think that's a shame. What happened to this kid actually happened to him. I really felt bad for him because you shouldn't judge someone on what he's going to say because you know what we used to say. As long as you show up on Sunday,
but
baby.
that means you're telling me for 4 rounds and 32 teams, take that kind of penalty out on that young man.
You look at what round did Tom Brady get drafted?
He went in
in?
the 6th.
Who's that?
Tom Brady was a 6th round pick.
Yeah, but Tom Brady wasn't taunted to be one of the top 10 players picked in the draft.
But he was on a national championship team at the time
Yes, he
with
was.
Michigan.
Yes, he was.
You know, and let's be honest, Colorado, when they win 9 games,
9 games.
you know, and then 2 or 3 the year before.
Yeah.
So the stats were there, but the winning wasn't.
Right. You're exactly right.
You know, so I think it's a combination of all of that. I think Dion was his agent too, right?
Yeah.
Well, my question would be,
And they don't want to deal with it.
my question would be, with all that information that you just gave, how did we get to the point where we was thinking he was going to be the first guy to go in the draft? Where did that information come from?
Yeah.
That change.
Yeah.
Some of that comes from guys. Now, I'm not saying me personally, but in the media, right? What does Mel
So you
Kiper
saying you
get
fake news?
What's that?
You saying you fake news?
I'm not fake news, but Mel Kiper might be. I'll just say that, right? Because Mel was losing his mind.
Hey, that was funny. Mel was hot, wasn't he?
Oh.
Hey, did you see him like it? He's funny anyway when he started talking. I mean, he was losing his mind.
And I thought on day 1 he had a full head of hair. By day 3 he hardly had any hair left.
He looked like me by the head, you know?
Yeah, who knows what the real reason is. Maybe one day it'll come out. But here's the thing I thought, and I told Reggie this earlier, that I loved from Shador Sanders after he was finally selected by the Browns. And he met with the media, us guys, yesterday, right? He said, look, I don't care what happened. It happened for whatever reason. That's in the past.
Yeah.
I'm only going to focus on, I'm not looking in the rearview mirror, I'm looking out the windshield, and I'm going to move forward with the opportunity that I now have.
I'm telling you guys this. Watch that boy. Watch that kid. He's going to show them all. He's going to show them all. He's determined now to come out here and say, all you guys made a mistake on me, and I'm going to show you did.
Could be one of the
I'm
best
hoping,
draft stories ever.
I'm hoping that as he comes to Cleveland, and as the media people here are from Cleveland, once he gets here and the questions are asked, Let's move on.
Okay.
I don't want to relive this every time he gets a mic in his face.
Right.
Let him play
Let the
football.
young kid go. Let him give himself a fair opportunity because we don't need to dig this up every time. But you know what happens, don't you? Every day, another angle, another question, another reliving it. I think he needs to move on. And actually, when the first time he gets in front of the mic, say, listen, I'm going to handle this today, and that's it.
Good. Yep. Or do the old Bill Belichick answer, I'm moving on to Cincinnati. Right? That's it. That's it. Hey, they're telling me we got to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for being here today at the Great Lakes Collectors
Thank you,
Convention. Greg Pruitt, Reggie
Thank
Langhorne,
you.
Hanford, Dixon.
Thank you, Kenny.
Browns legends. Always great to catch up with you guys. Y'all look good. Great to be seen, right? Each and every day.
Better be seen than viewed.
That's it, right? And
Kenny, let me say this. Everybody just want you to know we're going to be over at the Hall of Famers booth over here. So if you guys want us to sign something, we'll be over at the Hall of Famer booth.
yeah, go see those guys, and thanks for doing this, gentlemen. And again, my name's Kenny Roda. Thanks for having me as well, Greeny. It's been a pleasure being here the last 3 years and with these guys today, and I'll be walking around buying stuff too, so always fun. Thanks for having us.